Alright guys, first thing first. The first thing we gotta do, as you can see, I'm in the back seat. Why? Because we gotta disconnect the negative terminal on the battery, which is under the seat. So what you wanna do is firmly grasp the front of the seat, and you're gonna really pull up and pop it out, pop the seat out, pull it forward, take the seat. What the heck is this? Well, I didn't see this, but we're gonna be disconnecting this little plug right here. What the heck is this for? What the heck is this? I have no idea what the heck this is. I don't know. Wait a minute. No, it ain't going to the other side. But anyway, here we go. Let's disconnect. You got this blue connector right here. You got the tab right there. Push that tab in, or you can try to do it from this side, but I like it. It's easier from right here. Push that tab in and unplug it. Son of a biscuit. Look at this mess, man. You know what? Ah! There we go. Alright. Dang it. Alright. And what you got here, guys, you're going to see your battery right here. You're going to take you a 5/16 or 8mm socket. I got a 5/16 deep 1/4" drive and my 1/4" drive.
Question.
Yeah.
Why did you have to unplug that?
Because I was going to take this seat out.
But you're not taking it out.
Here, Sydney.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
What's the point?
There we go.
Couldn't you just move it to the side?
There we go.
Alright.
Alright, guys. So, you got your bolt right here on the negative terminal. You're going to take that off. And then you're going to lean that to the side. You want to make sure you just don't leave it like that, because see how it springs back and touch it? Then you're going to go up there and going to short something out, and you're going to turn this into a nightmare of a job. Thumb down. So you want to tuck that down to the side. Make sure it does not come back and touch that battery. Alright? We're good to go back here. Alright? We'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm showing you my tools because I'm going through this video. I'm going to name some sizes and what I'm doing. But I'm going to be using something different because I left my metric set at home. What I'm going to have to do here is use my 1/2" drive metric set, a reducer from half inch to 3/8. So when I name a socket, you're going to see what I'm doing. You don't have to have that. Just get you a regular socket. This is the American size, and sometimes it matches up. And also, to make this job easy for you guys, get you a cordless impact. Go to Harbor Freight, get you a cordless impact. And get this adapter set for the sockets. It comes in, it's a 3-piece, 1/4", 3/8, and then a 1/2". And that way it's gonna make this job a lot easier for you. Alright? So let's get right to it. Be right back. Alright guys, the first thing we do is take off this cover. This cover is held on by two 13mm bolts. What you want to do is get you a 13mm shallow socket, get your impact driver, remove both bolts. Both nuts, it looks like. Pop it up. And now, check this out. This is what's going to be important about this job. We're going to do what I call the party line, guys. So, what we're going to do is go over here. We're going to set this up right here. Every time we take off a part on a vehicle, we're going to set it down, and we're going to put it in a line. So, when we get ready to put this job back together, we start from the other end of the line and work our way up. This way, we ain't got a bunch of parts everywhere, everything's all thrown everywhere, and then you go ahead and mess this job up. So this is the first part of the party line. We'll be right back. Alright guys, let's get right to it. Then the first thing we're going to do is take off, well no, that's not the first thing, because the first thing we did was take off that cover. So the next thing we're going to do is take off the top of the air cleaner box. Now, here's your mass airflow sensor right here. We need to disconnect that. It's got a plug right here. Now, what you want to do is there's a tab right here. Squeeze this tab into the connector and unplug it and pull it out. Then you want to take your flat screwdriver. There's a clamp right here. You want to loosen up this clamp as much as you can without letting the clamp actually come apart. And then up here, you're going to have two butterfly screws right here, 1 and 2. Take those completely, well, loosen them completely up. All right, be right back. All right, these screws will not come out, but it will be loosened. Then you want to take this whole air tube right here and be very careful that you not put no holes in it, or if yours have holes in it, this car runs really raggedy. So you want to make sure you firmly grab it. Pull it off. It got tabs right here. They go down into the box, lower part of the box. So you want to make sure you pull it back, pull it out, bam. Put this to the party line. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, for the next step, what you're going to need is a 4-inch 3/8 drive extension and a 10mm 3/8 drive socket. I'm using a swivel because, again, I don't have my sockets here. So otherwise, you'll be using a 10mm deep. All right, we're going to separate the throttle body from this bracket, from this main bracket back here. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. And there's 3 bolts. There's one right there, one down there. Can you see that one? And there's one over there that's very hard to see, but it's right on the same line as that one right there. Matter of fact, let me put this ratchet on it now, socket on it, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. The area is at. It's right there. And what we're gonna be using, huh?
But move your hand. Can you?
No, it's gonna drop.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Let me put my socket on it. Dang it, man! I wish I didn't have to swivel on. All right, guys. So we've got it right there.
Okay.
And I got my big bill on it. Or you're gonna be using a 3/8 drive ratchet. Okay, let me pull this bolt out. And let's get out the other one, the one right here, and the one on the top. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, I just took out the last bolt right here. All 3 bolts are the same length, so you don't have to worry about it confuse them. And this is gonna separate the throttle body with the lines and everything. You don't have to disconnect nothing. Just pull that off just like that. Just put it right to the side. That's all you gotta do. Now, you're gonna have this vacuum line right here. This one's going down to your fuel pressure regulator. You just want to twist that a little bit back and forth and be very careful when you do that. And take that off. Okay, just let it like that. Then you're going to have this tube right here. Now this is just, we got to take off the intake. This is just going right there, just in the way a little bit. So what you want to do is just pop that off and let that lean to the side just like that. Everything is looking good, guys. This is great. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do, you see these little weird little clips right here? What you wanna do is take those off. So you also keep on screwing them up a little bit and take them off. And what you wanna do is when you get them off, you're gonna have your overflow line right here. And that's all you do is you're gonna pick this up and move this over out of the way. So let's get this one done and move this line over, and we'll be right back. All right, the reason why we did that, guys, because this gets out of the way. Then you're gonna have this little retainer right here that's holding in a wiring harness. So you wanna take that off. So now what we're gonna do is disconnect the 4 injectors over here, and this plug right here is going to our coils. Now, to unplug the injectors, you're gonna have to pick up, there's a plastic piece right here. You're gonna pick that up. Now you don't have to pick it up all the way, just like that.
The blue thing?
No, the gray. The blue thing's down there, watch. See, the gray part pops up. And then you're gonna take your finger on that side, squeeze it into the connector. Whoops, well, take it off, heck with it, take it off. Then you wanna squeeze the tab right there, squeeze that in, and unplug it. All right, so you're gonna do those 3 right there, and this one is the same way. You got a gray connector, supposed to be able to pop it out just a little bit without taking it off, and push the black part down and unplug it. But this one came off, but that's okay. Came off, that's cool, because you can always just put them back up there. All right, so let's get the other 3 done, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got that. Let's get this. I don't know why I put that back down there. Unless it came down there. Let's take our harness, bring our harness to the side. Now here's the vacuum hose that we disconnected from the fuel pressure regulator. What we want to do is bring that around the side over here, so we can take this whole wiring harness and fold that over to the side, out of the way. That's great. Now the next thing you got is these 2 plastic vacuum lines right here. Can't break those. We got to get those out of the way. So what you want to do is go over here. You're going to see this main harness. Just pick up on the harness just a little bit. You're going to see one of the hoses go right here. So unplug that. Then bring it down, and the other one goes right here. And you got to be very careful with this stuff, guys, because this stuff is plastic. It will break in a heartbeat. So like right now, that one's kind of difficult to do. So what you want to do here, when you get it like that, don't go crazy. Just firmly hold that side in place. Take you a screwdriver and just work that side right off of there. I'm about to break this thing. Son of a biscuit. Got them just like that. Take those out. Bring those around. And it goes right here. Now, if let's not take a chance, guys. Let's get our screwdriver method again. Take this one off right here. And swing that over. Let it hang out on the side. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're going to do is disconnect the 4 injectors over here. But stop, guys. Yeah, I got to yell at you guys. But before you do that, don't attempt that. Because pick this harness up right here. If you try to disconnect this injector, you're going to take a chance of breaking that nipple part right there off of that valve. So you do not want to do that. So let's get that out of the way. Push this back down. First, let's unplug it. We got our tab right there. Let's squeeze that tab into the connector and pick it up. Unplug it, get it out of the way. Then we follow up. We got a vacuum line going right here. You got to use that little screwdriver trick to break that right off. Lean that to the side. Then this valve is held on, the solenoid is held on by a 10mm nut right there. So what we're going to do is get us a 10mm deep with a 4-inch 3/8 drive extension and take the nut off, take the solenoid off, put the nut back on it so we know it goes there, put this on the party line, and then what you're going to do over here is now you can disconnect all 4 your injectors. Again, by picking up the gray tab. Just pull the gray tab off. Pull it off. Don't even aggravate yourself. Pull the gray tab off. The top of there, squeeze it in, and pick it up. All right, let's get the other 3 disconnected. And at the same time, while we're over here, you're going to have your PCV valve over here. No. Because that's like a hard. There you go. Pull it right off and lean that to the side like that. All right, let's get that done, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we got to do is disconnect our fuel lines right here. And what you want to do is take some rags, put some rags up under there. Get a bunch of rags, guys. And these 2 lines are different sizes. This one over here is a 5/16. This one over here is a 3/8. You can tell by the line difference right here. This one's a skinny one. This is the fat one. First, let's remove our safety clips right here. These little clips right here is just in case these things don't snap all the way down. These clips will lock it from popping out completely. And what you want to do is the top half of them, pop it out, and supposed to be pushed down a little bit and come right out. So it hooks right up into there like that, and then close in just like that. All right, let's get those out of the way. Why this one? What the heck, man? Put this to the side. Now, there's all different kinds of tools to remove these lines. There's the little set that's called like $8, a white little set. They work great, guys. I bought this set years ago from Matco. It was like only like $26 for the set, and I don't know. I think I got them because of the way they look, the colors. I don't know what the heck, but I did see something like this at Harbor Freight. So let's go with the skinny one first. Anyway, we got the 5/16 one right here. So what you want to do is take the tool like that, Open it up, let it close up, hold the line down, squeeze the tool up. This tool is going to open up a spring inside there. This is what you want to do, and I might have to. You want to back up some just in case the fuel comes out of here. Huh? Okay, what you want to do here is hold the tool up in the air, up to the line, up on the line, and then pick up on this. But there could be a lot of fuel pressure in there, so what you want to do is hold the rag over it so it don't spray everywhere. Well, they're good. There's not a lot, so good. I can show you. Take the rag off. Put the rag right there. So you want to hold the tool up, and then twist the line and bring it right off just like that. That tool is going to fit right up to that line right there. All right. It smells kind of stale. How long this thing been sitting here?
It's been a while.
Dang it. All right, and we go over and do the 5/16, I mean the 3/8 the same way. Put it around it. Make sure it's all the way up to that little collar right there, and unplug it. That little rags on there to catch that gas. Okay, let's let this drain a little bit, and then we're gonna take the rags out of there. We'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we do, get you a piece of mechanics wire, and you got our hose over here coming from the expansion tank. Get you a piece of wire, hook it up to your wiper blade, just a little bit. Bring this over so it can be out of your way, and tie that up just a little bit. So now we got a clear, open way of getting our intake out of there. Now we're ready to get this thing out of there. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do is remove the fuel rail. Now I know some guys out there will try to take the intake up without me doing that, but the problem is when you're going to have to torque down this intake, you're going to have to use a swivel to really get in there, and you're not going to be able to get the proper torque. So you definitely want to remove your fuel, and it's not that bad, guys. Only thing it is, let's get your 10mm deep 3/8 drive. Again, I can't, I'm using this mess. 3/8 drive, and you got a nut right here that's holding on the lines. You don't want to take the nut out. As you can see, there's a slot inside of there. So that's all you want to do is loosen that 10mm up. Just loosen it up just like that so it can come up. Now what you want to do is take your same 10mm deep, but this time add on a 4-inch drive extension, and you're going to use your impact driver. You're going to have 4 bolts, but like whatever they called. 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. So you're going to use your 10mm deep 3/8 drive and your 4-inch 3/8 drive extension, and you're going to take those bolts right out of there. All right, let's get those out, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got them out. All 4 are the same length. We're going to hold them in our hand for now. Next you want to do, guys, is now your whole fuel rail is going to be loose. And what you want to do is just firmly grasp, start from one end, and start picking it up. Make sure you're picking it up evenly, just like I did. Go on to the other side. And guys, you gotta be careful because this is plastic. So you gotta pick it up just a little bit and then go to the other side and pick it up again, or you will crack that thing. And you're gonna be looking crazy in the face. You're blaming me for the mess. All right, once you get it out, you got the slot over there. Take it out of the slot. Take it up over here. Make sure everything is out of the way. Take the whole thing. And be careful, huh?
So when you do that, you're taking out the injectors as well?
Injectors as well. And sometimes, guys, you got to be careful because sometimes these little O-rings will get stuck down in the intake. So you want to check them all to make sure all of them are there. Great. So we're going to put this on over to the party line. Take your bolts that you took out of there, studs, and you want to put them back in there by a couple threads so we don't lose them. All right, let's do that. Put this over to the party line, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're going to do is, you got a lot of dirt and all around there. And you actually could have did this before we took the injectors out. Get you some air. Blow all that air, all that dirt and all out of there. Alright, let's get that done. We'll be right back. Alright guys, first, before we get to this, those 3 bolts we took out from the throttle body, those 3 bolts went right into this plate right here that's connected with this tube to the intake. So that's why we had to disconnect, take off those, and remove it. The next thing you guys got, we got 10 millimeter bolts holding down this intake. Here's the 5 right up on the top, and then we got 5 exactly right up on the back. So what you want to do is grab your 10 millimeter deep 3/8 drive with your 4-inch 3/8 drive extension and get your impact gun or your 3/8 drive ratchet. And you want to go ahead, and when you loosen this, you want to loosen them from the outside in, just in case this intake is kind of warped. All right, so we're gonna go to the outsides, bleed out, take them all out, and then start working your way in. And you can take these bolts out if you want. All right, so let's get all them out, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got all the bolts out. Yeah, some of them is kind of like stuck in there, but that's okay. Now, as you can see, the whole intake is loose, and from right here is loose. So what you want to do is slowly grab your intake, pick it up out of the way. What the deuce? And there's our starter. This, I can't believe you gotta do all this for a starter, guys. But there's our starter with a bunch of something that, whatever was living down in here. Was it the bottom?
Yeah, die. Make your face the other way.
All right, let's put this over here in the party line. And this could be, I ain't gonna mess with all that. Forget that, man, whatever. Ugh. All right, guys, we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do is that microphone on? Oh, okay. You know, okay, you're bad. You got your job. She about to look at me like crazy in the face. All right, we got 2 wires we got to disconnect here. One, this wire goes directly to the battery, and this one goes down to the neutral safety switch, or if it doesn't have a neutral safety switch on some cars, it goes right to the ignition switch. We got 2 nuts holding them on. One right here, which is a 1/2 inch or 13 millimeter, and I'm using a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch drive ratchet with my 1/4 inch drive ratchet, something like that. I don't know what the heck. What? I don't know. We're gonna unbolt that, and we're gonna take that one off, and then you're gonna switch over to an 8 millimeter 1/4 inch drive deep socket or 5/16, and you want to get the one down there. Oh, what's that? What's that? Stop it! Ow! Civi's funny. Alright, you gotta go out there and get this one down here and take that off. Alright, let's get both of those off and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got the nuts off of there, and that's all you do is just take your wires, take them off, leave them to the side, and that's it. And be careful with this, guys, over here. This is the knock sensor, so don't hit this or knock this out of the way. And if you're not comfortable with it still being unplugged while doing this, you can unplug it by, you got that little spring right there. Squeeze that spring down towards the connector and unplug it. That way, in case you're not too comfortable with that going around there. All right, guys, we'll be right back. All right, guys, now what you're going to be using is a 10 millimeter deep 3/8 drive socket, and the extensions I'm using is a 4-inch 3/8 drive extension and a 1-inch 3/8 drive extension, because what you want is to make sure your ratchet, you got to take out these 2 bolts right here, and those 2 bolts are holding in the starter. There's not one underneath, so you don't have to worry about that. And you want to make sure your ratchet ends up right along here so you can get enough swing to it. See, just like that. And what you want to do is go ahead and take those 2 bolts out, and as you can see, the starter's starting to come out already. All right, let's take those 2 bolts out, and we'll take out the starter together. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we got both bolts out. Both bolts are the same length, so that's cool. You don't have to worry about getting them confused and mixed up. Then you want to just take your starter, wiggle it. The starter's going to come right out of there. Yeah, and up in the air. And this one looks like, wow, Well, it's probably because it's protected. It's going to stay clean and all. We manufactured in Mexico. That's how you say it. Alright, let's go put this starter next to the other one, match it up, so we can get ready and install the new one. We'll be right back. Alright guys, here we got the two starters. Matching them up. Everything looks good. Just turn it around. Make sure we take off the two nuts and washers. Alright, let's take these off and let's go set this in. We'll be right back. Alright guys, let's take our starter like a missile. You know, a torpedo. Loading the torpedo in a submarine. It'd be cool. Alright, let's put the starter in there. Make sure your starter solenoid, that's part, make sure this is facing up towards you. And then put it in just like that. Take one of your bolts, put it in there. And you want to turn that bolt by hand. Get it lined up. What the heck, man? Get it lined up. You definitely want to get this started by at least 5 threads before you tighten it up, because you definitely don't want that to cross thread. Then you'd be in a world of trouble. Great, I got that turned in just enough. And then we're going to go and do the bottom one and get that turned in by the same amount of threads, if not more. Now if you turn it about 2 or 3 times, like 1, 2, and it locks up, take it back out. Make sure that thing is definitely going in there. Alright, we got that lined up. Great. We'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm going to use my big bill ratchet and my setup to bring those bolts in. But I'm just going to bring it in just till it snugs up. And you do that just by barely pushing it on the level on your gun, because I need to show you how to tighten these up. So bring it in. Bring the top one in. And you see, I'm at an angle right now. You do not want to do that. Okay, now to tighten these bolts up, what you want to do, because these bolts are being screwed into aluminum, so you can strip them out, and you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is grab your 3/8 drive ratchet, and you want to tighten it up till it stops. And when you feel it stops, then just put a little more pressure on it. That's it. All right. So let's get both of those done. And again, I'm at an angle right now, like, because it's not fitting. Don't do that, guys. That's bad teaching right there. And actually, I shouldn't have did it. You know what? That's what I get for not having my sockets on. What I'm going to do here is use a swivel 10mm 3/8 drive socket. So in that way, I'm flush on that bolt. And then you want to go ahead till it stops, and then snug it up just a little bit more. That is great. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys. Now, the next thing we're going to do is get our small wire on. That's the S wire. That actually sends 12 volts down in there. And what you want to do is make sure you're going to see a lock. They're going to have come with, the new one's going to come with a lock washer and then a nut. You want to make sure you put that lock washer on there. The reason being, let me grab the big one. Alright guys, we're back. Let me show you the big one. The reason why you got to make sure they're up there. A lock washer, see how a lock washer is made? It's not just it's like a regular washer. Then they cut it and then they bent it. You see how one spot is up and one spot down. The reason being that is because when I put this on and I tighten the bolt up, the nut up on it, it pushes that and squeezes it flat, which will stop that pressure from it wanting to go back, will stop that nut or bolt from turning back out. So definitely you want to have that, because you do not want that coming loose and you have to do this job all over again because the wire came loose. Alright, so we got the lock washer on. Now we got to carefully go down there and put the nut on. Dang it! Ugh. Man, suck, man. This thing going down there, doing like that, man. I gotta reach down here, and I don't know what the heck was down here. Okay, nothing. Go up under here and get the washer. And you know what? Sometimes, guys, when you do this, sometimes it's best just to take the gloves off. Get the lock washer on. Okay. And then reach over here. Get the nut to turn. Or it's a good thing you can take the nut and put it in the socket with a piece of tissue or something. But we got it. There it is. Alright, we got that on. Now, tightening this up. Again, that's a 5/16 or 8mm. So what I'm going to do first is take my socket, bring it down there. I'll bring that in till I get tension on it, till it stops. And this, the back of the solenoid is plastic. You can easily over tighten these nuts and crack that solenoid. So, my favorite thing, guys, you know what I say? You go till it stops, and then a little bit more. That's all you got to do. All right, same thing with the top one. Let's get that done and set this thing up. And also, guys, before we go, you notice this one has a little tab that's sticking out right there. That's an alignment tab to make sure this thing don't spin. And on the solenoid, you see a little slot right there where it actually supposed to go in there, but that's where the alignment is, and it keeps it from turning. All right, so let's get this one on, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do, just in case if you did it, our knock sensor. Let's go ahead and plug that back up. Good. Next thing you want to do, guys, is get you a rag, or you can use a scraper, but it's only rubber gaskets right here. Oh, okay.
Freaking me out.
No, I thought the wire was simply about to take off and leave me here.
Sure was.
All right, guys. What I need you to do now is there's rubber gaskets that go here, so you don't really need no scraper. But what I need you to do is, if you got rags, get 4 of them. Cause which I want you to do, well, get 5 actually, or 4 pieces of paper towel. You want to stick the rags down in here, because what we're about to do is go ahead and clean all this up. You might want to get some carburetor cleaner, spray it on the rag, but you want to just make sure you clean all this, and either you can like clean up around this one and then switch it over to this one. Just get 4 rags and stick them down in there, and then that'll be even better, or some paper towel. All right, let me get to that point, and then I'll be right back. All right, guys, I got the 4 rags stuck in there. Then take some carburetor cleaner. Oops, not over there. All right, spray the rag. You just go ahead and you clean all that up, just like that, guys. So let's clean this up, and then we're gonna switch over to the other side over here and clean that up. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we did. Cause that was getting boring for me. So I got me a scouring pad, and then I cleaned it up nice and neat. Now what you want to do is take your rag, shake them, put them over the ports, because now we got to clean up this part right here. You see how all that dirty that is? So let's do that, clean that up, and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got it all cleaned up. That is great, guys. Everything looked good. All right, now let's go prepare our intake for installation. We'll be right back. All right, guys, first and most important, you got this little rubber grommet right here. You want to make sure this thing is still pliable, moving apart. That's the whole tube right here. Now, what you want to do here is take you some rag or something, and you want to clean this up, get all this off of there as much as possible. And if you want to use a screwdriver or something, scrape all that off, because you want to make sure this thing seals and there's no leaks. And if you want, which is a good idea at this time, is actually just sit there and go ahead and get you a new one, guys. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. Clean all that up. So let's clean that up and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, we cleaned it up. Took a little small wire brush to get that off of there. That looks really good. That's gonna seal nice. Alright, the next thing we're gonna do while we got it up in the air, what you wanna do here is here's our 1, 2, 3, 4 injector ports. So the injectors have O-rings at the bottom. So what you want to do is take a screwdriver and a rag, and we just want to go around there and clean those out to make sure that sets right down in there perfectly. All right, so let's get all 8 of them done, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got all of them done. That is great, but we're not done with those yet. Next thing you want to do is turn your intake upside down. Now, you're going to have the intake gaskets right here. This like rubber seals, over whatever you want to call them. And what you want to do is get you a flat screwdriver. And these things...
A pick would work.
Yeah, pick would be even better. Take them out and pop them out just like that. Okay, and take notice that there's a little tab of them, and that's an alignment tab. They go right on the intake, they line up right there. All right, let's get all those out. And then once we get them out, what you want to do is take some carburetor cleaner and just clean up around, make sure we get all that stuff out of there, clean up around there. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got our new gaskets right here. Pay very close attention to this gasket. You see how it's made. You see how that is on one side. You see, better yet, you see those little ridges right there? We got to make sure those ridges are facing going into the intake, because those little ridges helps keep them in there when you turn it over. So you want to make sure you align the part right there, put it on, and squeeze them. Oops, see, look at that. I ain't even got that aligned. What the heck is wrong with you, man? Pull that back up. Let's get that in there aligned. Then work our way around, pushing, making sure you push that gasket down in there. So when we go to put it back in the car, watch that thing drop out. You turn over, it stays right in place. Dang it, look at that, look at that stuff. Give me a rag, clean that up. All right, so let's get all of them in, all 8 in, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got all of them in. That is great. Now, let's turn our intake back over. And remember I told you we wasn't finished with the injector holes yet? That's because what we're going to do is do the 007. The Q-tip method, because once we set our injectors back in, we do not want that O-ring to bind up in any kind of way, mess up the injector or anything, so we need them to slide in perfectly. So what you do is grab your Q-tip, get some white lithium grease, just get a thin little layer, and you just want to place it, just put a little bit around each port just like that. That way that thing will slide right in perfectly. All right. Let's get all of them done, and then we're going to bring this back over to the car. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're ready to set our intake down. But before we do this is just my preference, guys. You do not know how. You don't have to do this. If you don't replace this, I just don't trust this thing really sealing up all that great. So what I like to do is take the red silicone, and I like to put, now you got to anticipate the red silicone takes about 20 minutes, actually 30 minutes to actually dry. So we got 30 minutes to get this thing in there and get it bolted up, which is more than enough time. Don't use a thick layer. That's all. See, that's too much coming out of there. You want to put a very, very thin layer going around. Okay, that's just give you that added sealing. All right, then what you want to do is take your intake, bring it over, try to keep it towards this way as much as possible. watch your wiring harness and everything over here. Bring it down. Again, watch your wiring harness. This thing is gonna aggravate me now. It came up with no problem. Okay, great. It's down. Now, the next thing you want to do, guys, is we got 2 bolts in here that was already in there. So what I want to do is move this intake around and get these bolts started by hand. All right. All right. Now let's grab the rest of the bolts and start them off by hand. Make sure they go in at least 5 turns. All right. Let's get them in and we'll be right back. All right, guys. Next thing we're gonna do is tighten this up. Now it's very critical that you tighten this up, starting with the center bolts. So we're gonna start 1, 2, and then we're gonna start going in a clockwise pattern, going all the way around. These bolts are tightened up to 10 Newton meters or 89 inch-pounds. And I got my 1/4-inch drive torque wrench here, torque ratchet, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I got, let's see, what is this? A 6-inch 3/8 drive, 1/4-inch drive extension, and a deep 10mm 1/4-inch drive. And if you never used torque wrenches before, the most common ones are the ones that once it reaches its torque, it clicks. So let's go ahead. In fact, let me just bring this one down. All right, and let's listen for the click. Bingo, done. So now I'm gonna go to this one and then work my way around in a circle till we get all of them done. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna skip a lot and go over here and mount our throttle body up so we can make sure this is lined up, because the screws go through the throttle body and into here. Now this part is very important, guys, and actually, guys, just go ahead and get a new throttle body gasket. But if you don't have one, if you can't get one, this is how you check this gasket. This gasket protrudes out from the throttle body, so you should be able to take your finger, rub your hand across it, and if you feel just flat going straight across, that gasket's no good. Change it. But if like this one, you can actually see it sticking out of the throttle body, so we know that's going to seal perfectly. Then you want to take the rag, we already did, take a rag and clean off the mounting part over here, the mating part over there. Now you want to take one of your 10mm bolts and put it to the top, and then what you want to do is take your 4-inch 1/4-inch drive extension with a deep 10mm. Let's put these stuff to the side. And what we want to do is go over here and actually bring this throttle body over there and get it into that plate. Look at that, it lined up. That went through there perfectly. Look at that. That's all we want to do, is just get it started. Now, let's do the bottom 2 bolts, get them started. So we know that's going to be aligned in there. Perfect. And let's get our other one in, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got the bolts started. Now we're going to start tightening them up. We're going to start from the corner over here, or you can start from this corner and then work your way. You want to come to the other side?
Well, I can see those 2 right there. You can see that one anyway.
All right, tightening. The wind chimes are loud. Okay, and this, guys, you want to tighten it up till it stops, and a little bit more. That's it. Then go up to the top one, do the same thing. Tighten it up till it stops. A little bit more. And let's do this last one, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we're over here to our party line. Not that much of a line, but it's not going to be getting me today. All right, here's our injectors And here's the O-rings that I was telling you about. We want to make sure they go down into the intake. Now on these, you want to make sure this thing is supposed to... Something ain't right here with these. Something ain't definitely right here, guys. Like something... Look at these. You see a little tab right there sticking out. That's part of the injector. It sits right in there and make sure that injector don't come out of there. You see one right there as well. But this one, maybe somebody replaced the injector at one time, because it doesn't even look like the thing was broken. It's just not there. Not that one. Not that one. This one is there. This one is there. This one is not there. And that one's broken. I can see that right there. That one's broken. And it's actually supposed to be down some. And this one is there. So we're just going to make sure they I like that. Now what you're going to do is take a rag and you want to clean off the O-ring right there. So any dirt, so it don't dirt or nothing stop it from going down into the intake. So let's clean all those up, and then we're going to bring this over to the car. We'll be right back. Alright guys, let's take off our bolts right here that holds this into place. And then our vacuum hose right here is going to the intake. Gotta make sure it goes above that. Set it down, make sure everything is out of the way. And over here, want to make sure that it goes down in there and hooks into there. That's perfect. Now let's slowly lower this down, and we want to make sure our injectors are going down into the intake. Make sure all of them lined up. Great. Then we can just push it down, and that lithium grease helps us set it right down. Now you'll know when you got it all the way down when the injector rail up here becomes flush with the intake. So you know that they're in. Let's take our bolts, get them in there, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, I want you to take notice that there's like a little sleeve on the bottom of the bolts right there. And they go, you got to make sure when we tighten them down, they go right inside there just like that. And to tighten these up, what you want to do is turn it till it stops and just a little bit more. That's it. Perfect. Okay, let's do the rest of them and we'll be right back. Alright guys, next thing we're going to do is we got this 10mm nut over here. Let's get our same setup. Go ahead and tighten that up. Tighten it up till it stops and a little bit more. You cannot go wrong with that method. Alright, and being that we over here, let's hook up our fuel lines. We got the 3/8 one and the 5/16. That's all you have to do. Now if you look up, if you can look in there, you'll see little clips. Those are the clips that's holding on, latch you on to that little collar right there. So that's all you have to do is push it on, push down, and you'll hear it click. Perfect. Lock it into place by taking the clip. It hooks up under there and snap it into place. Alright, let's get this one done and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is go over here, start hooking up our injectors. Now, let's back this little gray tab up, set that into unlocking mode. Then you want to push down onto the injector and then bring that down to lock it into place. Alright, let's do those four, and then when you get those four done, you can go ahead, put this vacuum hose on over there, and then take off the hose to your expansion tank and bring that over. Alright, let's get that done and we'll be right back. Alright guys, next thing we do, we got a little 10mm nut right here. Take that off because we're going to get our solenoid now. And matter of fact, let's make it easier. Plug our solenoid up. Push the connector on till it clicks. And you know what? Let's get our vacuum lines over here. And connect them. Makes it a lot easier doing it this way while it's loose. Get the one up here, and then put our 10mm nut on, and let's tighten that up with the same 10mm with the 4-inch, 3-inch, quarter-inch drive extension. Go till it stops, a little bit more, and then that's it. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, now at the other end of this vacuum lines, we got the one going right here. Let's connect that up. So we're done with that. Next thing to do, let's take our wiring harness, bring it over, hooks on to the stud right here. Then let's go over and connect all 4 of our injectors and our coil over here. And this one we gotta pull the tab back, put it on, and lock it into place. And you already know how to do the injectors. All right, so let's get our injectors done, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're gonna do, our fuel pressure regulators right here. Let's hook up our vacuum line that goes up over here. Okay, then we got our hose going to our expansion tank. Let's bring that over onto the studs. Got our 2 washers. Push them down into place. Then we got our other tube going to our other valve cover. You know what? This is not good. Let's take that off of there. All right, bring that over. Bring that down and hook that up. All right, quickly browse around, go over your work, make sure everything is connected, that you haven't forgot anything so far, and you haven't if you're following my video, of course. But now let's move on to the next step. We'll be right back. All right, guys, now let's put on our air cleaner box, the top of it. First, we got the rubber tube that go over here onto the throttle body. Let's get that on. This is supposed to be over here, and there's supposed to be a thing right there. Let's get that on. Then, hooking it up into here, make sure the tabs go into the slots right there. And then push it forward. Bring it down. Screw these up, down to tighten them up. Then take your flat screwdriver and tighten up that clamp right there. All right, let's get that done. You about to ask something, Sylvie?
Yeah, we're about to answer.
Oh, good thing. Good thing Sylvie saw that, because we would have started this thing up and this thing would have ran such like dirt. So the mass airflow sensor right here, take your connector, just push down till you hear a click, and it's on. All right, let's tighten that up and we'll be right back. All right, guys, last but not least, check it out, the cover. There, done. I'm out. No, that's not. Okay, you got a little rubber piece right here. That goes under this little bracket right there. Just like that. Then bring it down onto the 2 studs. You got your 2, what was it again? I think 12 or 13. Oh, 13. Yeah. 13. 13 deep. 1/4-inch drive. Got my 4-inch ratchet. Go ahead, and that's all you have to do, guys. Again, guys, this is the perfect method right here. Bring it down till it stops, a little bit more. That's it. Perfect. Oh, I see you a lot of guys repeat that in the comment section, which is cool. Yeah, buddy. All right, let's tighten this last one up, and we are done.